This video is going to be a little bit different, mostly because I'm kind of in between projects right now. I have one that I'm working on. Kind of see the wood off to the side here a little bit, but I haven't been able to really do much over the last few weeks as far as some of the projects that I have planned. Partially due to things going on with family and with other stuff that I needed to get done with just general house maintenance, changing some things in the yard that I've been wanting to do for a while, and trying to beat the heat with getting some of that done. Unlike woodworking, when it comes to the yard, it sometimes takes me a while to figure out what I want to do, how I want something to look, and it's kind of one of these wait until I have that aha moment where I realize what it is that I want to do. I'll show you some of what I've been doing here in a little bit. There have been several different things that I have done, both here in the garage and in the house, that I have not filmed, just because I really don't feel that I need to film every single thing that I make, especially if it's something like a simple shelf or small cabinet, something that you've seen multiple people make multiple different times with nothing that's really unique about it. If I'm wrong with people not wanting to see that stuff, let me know. I will gladly change that and adapt to that, and figure out what I'm going to do. I'm still struggling with trying to figure out what content should be filmed, shouldn't be filmed, what part of the process is what people really want to see versus what I think they should see, especially with the start to finish with a project. I'm still trying to get a little more comfortable with not only filming myself but talking on camera as well. It's really odd for me because I'm still getting used to how I sound when I'm recording something, or when it's being set to be put out for a video. So there's some things that I'm still getting used to. It's been one extreme learning curve that I did not anticipate, and it's something that I'm trying to adjust to. So if you guys want to give me some suggestions of what it is you would like to see, please let me know. That way I can be able to provide better content for you and hopefully provide stuff that is actually helpful. I'm rethinking some of what I'm wanting to show and how I'm wanting to portray what I do. Just because with the physical issues that I have, between the ongoing issues with one of my knees following my hip replacements and the fact that both shoulders are not exactly in the best condition right now, I'm going to start trying to explain how I do some of the things to try and minimize the amount of stress and repetitive motion that has a tendency to aggravate my shoulders, especially. With my right shoulder, the torn rotator cuff really helps to cause me to rethink how I do a lot of things. I've had a couple of questions from some of my friends who have seen videos or family regarding my rotator cuff as far as why I just can't get it fixed. That's because my right shoulder, over a period of 5 years, went through 6 different surgeries because of various injuries that I've had and issues that I've had with my shoulders. And the orthopedic surgeons feel that doing one more and repairing the rotator cuff a third time is something that's going to put me at risk for a shoulder replacement or permanently um, setting me up for an issue where I will never be able to actually have the use of mobility in my shoulder that I do now. So that's why that hasn't been addressed. I've been dealing with it for about a year and a half now. Um, and it's just something that I'm having to adjust to and get used to. One of the things I have had a few questions on, and people have wondered about, is specifically with my sander. This is a Bosch. I've had it for several years. It has done very well for me. But one thing that I've seen, and a couple of people are confused on, is why it is that I end up holding the sander around the base instead of up here. Simply because sometimes this puts me in a more neutral position, which allows me to turn my wrist slightly, which takes some of the stress off of the tendon up here and on the shoulder. I do plan on getting a different style of sander. That's something that is in the works. It's something I'm quite frankly going to have to save up for. That is a lower profile. It is supposed to be more ergonomic and hopefully it will be more comfortable. But until then, especially at times where I'm having issues with my shoulder, this allows me to be able to have that more neutral position, allowing me a better range of motion than this does, where it causes everything, even though ergonomically this is correct, physically it's correct, this is actually more comfortable and gives me just a little bit of a relief on the range of motion that I have. It also allows me to switch easier while I'm sanding from one arm to the other, so that I can adjust if I'm starting to feel fatigue in my shoulder and sometimes in my hands, just because of the stress that everything puts on the my entire arm and shoulder. Whether it's correct or not, I don't know. Does it get the job done? Yes, it does. And it helps me to be able to keep control of what I'm doing, how I'm doing, and allows me to control the amount of pressure that I put on the sander as well. So yes, even though this is correct, some people feel this is incorrect, I've had to adjust to being able to find a way to work with it where it again allows me to have full control of sander, full control of the amount of pressure I have, and take some of the extra stress off of my shoulder. One of the other things that I've put together, and you've seen me use on a couple of different projects, I need to fashion one that's a little bit bigger that can handle larger boards. But I developed this, put this together, so that while I'm using my router, I have an easy way to keep control, especially with smaller boards. Because of the fact that there are times where I just don't have full control, or I don't feel like I have full control with the router to be able to do a rabbet on the edge, or even cut a dado with the board secured to my workbench. There are times where I just can't keep enough pressure on the router to have it follow a guide, or sometimes even between a couple of boards set up as guides to be able to get what I need. So I've developed this so that, especially with working with smaller boards, I have the ability to adjust the board that I need to cut a rabbet on or cut a dado on, as long as it fits within the constraints of the size of my router table. And I'm still working on getting this finished. But this really has been helpful with organizing some of the scrap. Let's see. Let's just grab this piece of pine. But with being able to set this and be able to lock it in place between the rubber feet and a piece of sandpaper that I have in here just to help give it a little bit of grip. This allows me to be able to fully move and adjust how I need the wood to run across the router. Even though I have to adjust the depth a little bit, it's been something that's been able to help with keeping control, especially with smaller boards, and reduces the risk of not being able to hang on to them. So yeah, a couple examples of what I have done, what I've adjusted, and what I'm working on adjusting, just so that I can actually do what I need to do and have everything look nice. And I didn't realize that I had the image reversed, so everything was actually backwards compared to what I was expecting. This shelf I put together just to help organize my camera stuff, speakers, portable charger, headphones, stuff like that I use on a regular basis out here in the garage. And again, something I didn't show being made just because it was intended to be quick and dirty, just something that will work to organize things until I'm able to redesign everything and completely redo all of the cabinetry in here and get it looking a little bit nicer. So yeah, I've been busy with all kinds of different things. Part of the issue I had too is in the process of doing some of the yard work, I managed to aggravate my shoulder severely and put myself in a position where for about a week it was even difficult to pick up a coffee cup and be able to actually do anything, not only woodworking but in the yard as well. Couple of things that I have changed. Let me flip the camera around. And again, talking about how it sometimes takes me a while to figure out what it is that I want to do with something. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can get less of the clutter in the backyard. And of course, that's a small pool we have for the grandkids. This went from being a dirt strip that I eventually will be putting planter boxes around with a sunscreen to help make it a little more comfortable, to now using some shale that we've had sitting around for years that we didn't do anything with, or I hadn't done anything with. Also adding rain chains for water control, not only in the back. I'll let you get blinded by the sun for a second. I've set these up in the front yard as well with a gravel pit for drainage. Something I've been wanting to do for a number of years. It's just wasn't quite sure how to do it, and it wasn't a priority, but I wanted to make sure this got done as part of some of the other stuff I've been doing out here. Some of the other changes I've made is when I first put the brick down. Hi, Jade. One of our little critters. I didn't have any kind of border to help hold in the gravel and sand that was used to stabilize the bricks. And so we had a lot of it washing out. It just wasn't sitting like it's supposed to. It's still not really extremely flat, but it's better than it was. But again, this was another 4 or 5 hour project with moving all these bricks and trying not to piss everything off even more. Piss my shoulders off even more. And here we have one of our little critters, Jade. She's the diva of the house. Yeah. Very chatty, very fun. She adopted us back in December during the middle of a very bad winter or storm that we were having, and she's just been a joy to have, and she's been a lot of fun. For a camera, I picked up a DJI Pocket 2. This thing has been extremely helpful. The gimbal on it makes it very easy to film things, be able to keep things in focus, track what I need to, and especially if I'm moving around, it allows me to keep things in focus, and I don't have to worry about constantly checking the level on my tripod, or where it's positioned, how it's positioned. It just makes it a lot easier, and I believe, at least from what I can tell, the camera has made a huge difference in the quality of the videos, how everything looks, and it's just a lot easier to work with and see what I'm trying to show everybody. There we go. If I can just figure out what I'm doing here. I'm still learning how to use the camera. I do use my phone for most of the recording, just so that I can better see what I'm doing. There's a very small viewfinder on the camera itself, but I find it easier just to look at my phone and adjust things as needed. And so you'll see me carrying that around, adjusting things, and like I said, I'm still learning how to use this thing and how to adjust focus, where to concentrate the zoom. It's been a lot of fun, but it's also been a challenge. I graduated high school in '91 and took some audio visual classes back then. But so much has changed. The thought of being able to have a camera of this size, or a phone that would do what they do now, was just, that was just complete sci-fi. And it was something I realized I really didn't want to keep going with. Even though it was a lot of fun, I was more interested in graphics design, website design, stuff like that, and that's what I did for a long time, doing marketing, business development, stuff like that. So this has been really very challenging for me, and trying to develop a whole new skill set, and trying to figure out exactly what it is that I want to show, how I want to show things, and what it is that people are actually going to want to watch and be able to find helpful for themselves, especially if they're in a situation like I am, where I do have some very definite physical limitations. But let me know what you think. Again, I know this is completely different. I'm trying to kind of find myself with doing the videos, as well as how I present myself, and the projects that I work on. I'm fairly comfortable with the actual woodworking itself. I'm getting more comfortable with things, more willing to try additional things, push myself a little bit more to produce different styles, different looks. And I have a couple of really large projects coming up that I will be working on, and you'll see those over the next few months as we get everything put together. Part of it just finishing some of the stuff we started in the house, and getting it set to where it's a little more comfortable, and what we really want to be able to have for our family room downstairs, and just make things look a little bit nicer and finish things up. It's a never-ending process, and I'm pretty sure at some point it's going to be changed and redone and everything else again. But you know, it's fun of owning your own house. You get to decide what you want to do, how you want to do it, and then probably just go, well, this isn't working, so let's find a new place, which might be in the works for us as well. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and next time that I post something, it will be an actual project that I'm currently working on that should be a little bit helpful and help with one of the needs that I have with my laptop. So anyway, enjoy, and thanks again for watching.